Hey guys, my name is Daniel. Welcome to our little podcast. In today's episode, I'm talking to Joe. And Joe experienced a lot of extraordinary and interesting things throughout his life. And today he's here with me to talk about numbers, consciousness, aliens, parallel universes, time and space. And guys, if you like this episode, please share it with your friends, leave us a like and subscribe to our channel. And if you guys want to tell us your story, we would love to hear it. You'll find the email address in the description. And for those of you who speak German or have German friends or family, I will put the link to our German channel in the description box also. You can also show some love there by leaving a like or a subscription. And now guys, have fun with today's episode. We're curious about your opinion, so leave a comment and tell us what you think. Joe,
Yes.
throughout your life you experienced a lot of extraordinary things, as you told me earlier today. We talked about numbers, we talked about dimensions and parallel universes, aliens and consciousness.
Mhm.
But I think let's start at the beginning of it all, as it makes sense, anyways. So, where did your journey with all that kind of stuff begin?
So when I was younger, there was small little moments. It wasn't really always this big, profound. As a kid, I already knew. I had to kind of look back and realize as a kid I knew stuff that I didn't know. I told my mom once, my mom and dad from another place are up there, and it made sense later on for other things. But so as a kid, it was little things, but more so the impact of everything else really came from me in 2018 around August. Well, in August. So that was when I actually, my ex-girlfriend passed away and she committed suicide. And I came home and I didn't know what was going on. She was acting weird and I had a lot of guilt after. But that's what really opened and kicked this life journey, opened a big door. Naturally everyone has like depressions, and it's usually a depression or something that's going to bring you to a point where you're going to ask a lot of questions and deeper, and eventually it started to see numbers and situations. And 2018, there's different people have different events that open the door, but that's when it really started.
First of all, sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
That's
It's been 4 or 5 years now, and what I've done for that, which made me, it helped me, was that the purpose of life. I asked a lot of questions, so I wanted to do something more meaningful, and it brought me to actually taking about. I took 3 years off for a while as a chef, and it brought me to social media and helping people in different ways. Starting off, I was talking about what I was going through, and it was hard because I didn't want to. You don't want to, but I felt the need to. And as I did that, I was healing, and people were coming and realizing that I wasn't alone. And you find different people in different situations, and then it gets more fun. But there's still challenges.
yeah. But life goes on. I had a childhood friend who, yeah, he killed himself too when he was only 16 years old. I was 16 also
That's young.
back then, and yeah, that's pretty young. He shot himself in the head.
Oof.
Man, that's crazy.
Sorry to hear that. That's rough.
Stuck with me my whole life. I'm 42 now, and it still hurts when I think about him because he was so young, and I always imagine, man, maybe if he is somewhere up there or wherever, and looking down now at all that stuff that he could have, family, kids, and job, and what is he thinking right now? What is he thinking about
Absolutely.
what he done? It's crazy. It's crazy. But let's talk about the numbers. What's up with those numbers? What numbers did you see, and what did it
Mm.
mean to you?
So naturally throughout life, people joke around or they'll be like, "Oh, it's 11:11, make a wish." This wasn't one of those things. It was more like you keep seeing 111, 222, 333, and it's a thing that just catches your attention after a while. Where even and at work, as a chef, you're weighing things out on a scale, and
Yeah.
333, and it's everywhere. The license plates, it gets to the point where you're kind of like, what's going on, and freaking out. And I didn't know what to do. And went to a Christmas party, and I gave them my coat, and they gave me the number for my coat for later on. It was 333, and I didn't know what was going on. It was like a universal calling. I was talking out loud, going, what is this about? What do you need? I thought it was a joke. Like, what's going on with me? That's what's happening to Joe. And I didn't know anything about what that was. I wound up eventually deciding to look for answers because no one really had answers to what I was asking. There was a lot of feelings and situations, and I was, what's the words I want to use? Fast tracked. Some people have many little moments that help them up, and I was fast tracked. It was very thrown at me. And so once I found on YouTube, it wasn't like just quick. I had to find like the one thing that hit me, and it hit me. And it talked about, which I believe more so as a level or a dimensional level of angelic beings. And so I learned, and I felt it, because you start to ask, what's going on with me, and you're being called in a sense to serve a purpose, but you don't know that yet. You're being shown that. And once I started to get into that, things started to develop very fast, and my mind started to ask questions, and it was very freaky. It got to the point where I would wake up the next day, have a thought. It's just in my head. I want to find the answer right away. I would go to work. Things would happen at work to me that were they were nuts. It was nuts. Then the numbers. So you're looking for peace at that point. You want to make sure you're not crazy. And the things that happened to me at work were literally, I was making pasta with flour, fresh pasta. And I would toss it on the table, and I'm making the pasta. And I look at the table, and I'm seeing people on the flour, and I'm literally staring at it at this point, going, "Why is this? Why is there? There's a guy with glasses. I'm not even like clear as day." And I'm going, "Okay." My phone randomly just decides to say like a Pandora commercial. It goes, "Read more books and study." And there's so many little things happening. And one day I went into work, and I'm doing this dish, and it's the same thing I've been doing. And my boss says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing this eggplant parm." He goes, "That's not the way it is." And earlier that day, I was thinking about parallel universes and timelines and all that fun stuff. I didn't know anything really about it. It was just, I didn't watch anything yet. It's just in my head, and I'm not sure why yet. And my boss goes, "No, that's not how we do it. It's this way." I've been there for like a while, and I looked at him. I went, "You know what? This must be another parallel universe timeline." I go home, and I find the video. It just jumped at me. It's not even like I'm looking for it. It just pops up immediately. And so it keeps leading me and leading me. And it's not just like a cookie trail. Like, there's things that just pop in my head, and it's like making me look and think about, what is that? What is that? So the numbers, they're basically, there's different levels to them. They're frequency and vibrational messages that whatever you're thinking and feeling at that vibration, because once you're aware of this, you're aware of it. And whether you're even not aware of it, your body is more aware of it than you are at one point. And so you wind up learning or trying to find the message. And there's a website that I was given, it helps a lot, but it's known in different ways. The combination, and the message is basically how you're thinking and feeling, and that will create your reality, but you don't know that just yet. And the messages start off with trusting the process, even the numbers. They're coding. So basically, also, the codes are hitting you in your vision, and your brain is also receiving that code, and you're being coded to wake up. And it's kind of when you first have that, you're like, what's going on in my life? Um, so I don't know if you have a question after that one. I don't want to talk too much.
I'm sorry,
I'll give you
I'm
time.
listening. It's very, very interesting. Do you think that those numbers, those codes that you see everywhere, unlocks every something inside your brain and things
Hmm.
happen? Things happen. There's one number that stucks with me for many years now. It's the 93. I'm not too positive why that is, but everywhere I look, I see 93. I look on my handy, on my cell phone, and I see the battery's 93. I see a car running by, and I see the license plate 93. It's always 93, but nothing else happens. So I don't know what is this all about, but it's interesting.
My intuition, I still look up. I don't. There's a lot of things I do know, and still to this day, it's kind of like a thing I enjoy doing. I look up the website because it's just I like to do it, but I would look up 93 and see. But some people might want to add 9 and 3, but my intuition for that would be more so the 369. But since you're so 3 to 6 would be your foundational purpose, like your discovery of maybe the spiritual foundation is there, or something in the sense of the light beings or aliens or something calling to you, right? It's your way into this experience of passion or purpose. And from 6 to 9 is where you process this way of thinking to bring it to people. Some people evolve it into something else to combine it, but what I see, like, it could be so much more, but from 3 to 9 or 9 to 3, you're thinking about something that's passionate on how to bring it this way or that way, or something you're creating or being creative with. That's my thoughts, but I still look at the numbers.
You talked about dimensions or parallel universes. Do you
Mhm,
think this is connected? And do you think that there is a
mhm.
way to unlock some kind of, let me call it, portal to parallel universes or other dimensions? Do you think this is possible? I have some thoughts
Oh yeah,
on this topic.
there's a lot. There's a lot. So there's the what I call it's for labeling purposes so people can understand it. What happens is downloads, and you don't go really looking for it sometimes. Like I said in the beginning, it just hits you. Um, Before at some point, I knew I heard I heard a ship land. I thought it was kind of funny, but I still was scared, and they were assisting me. And I remember, this is what happens too. I decided that one of these, I had a appointment with a friend one night, and they canceled, so I took a ride. And I went to the gas station, and there was 3 books, and I don't really read books at that point, and sometimes I still read a little bit. But there was a book, they were free. Symbolism, thousands of symbols and definitions, alchemy, and I went, okay, and things come in your reality. Now, I had decoded a symbol, and I still to this day, like, I know this original symbol, but I don't know the whole code. But when I did that, and I don't even know what drove me to do that, but I remember looking up and I saw a symbol in the tree outside, and in that moment, I felt like I died. Like it was just like it wasn't a death in a bad way. It was like a rebirth. And in that moment, I knew I went somewhere. It wasn't even like I went back. I went somewhere else. So I for sure know I was brought to another parallel Earth, because it's just, I don't know how to explain the note. You just right away I knew. And there was a transition period that I didn't know right away, but I felt such at peace. And I worked with my guides. At that time, I was more closely with my intuition. And I said, why do I feel like I'm not supposed to be here? And they said, well, do you feel that you shouldn't? Is it bad? And I went, no. I said, don't worry about it. And when I later reflected, it was this transition center of where I was. It was home here, and they were blending it in and bringing me to the next one. So when it connects to timelines and parallels, there's a lot involved from what they had given me as I'm a metaphysical life coach and teacher. Everyone has different gifts. And I was shown several different things. So they started off with infinity. And infinity, what they gave me was, life and death, rebirth, but the back and forth. And the goal to help people was from infinity was this golden scale that came up like steps to go out, to leave the death and rebirth cycle, which really was what they call 3D. And 3D is where when most people become aware of the sensitivity to the energy at first, the news hits you weird and you're like, what's going on? Different conversations. You don't mean to, but you wind up looking for truth in your journey because you have to, in a way, for yourself of understanding, for finding people. Because no one around me knew the answer and they were like freaking out, and like even spiritual people around me, they didn't have the answer at the time, and I wasn't meant to stay there. I was meant to find the truth. So the 3D is where the programming of the 3D is, because they want the 3D world to live in fear. And fear is where the news or anything like that, they kept people and stuck with the programming of you can't do what you want to do type of thing. In the sense, it's fear. You're afraid to do this. You're afraid to do that. The news says don't go out. It's bad outside. They're using your energy to take your thoughts and create what they're giving you, because the news is the news. So people are going to see this the way they see it. But so that was that part. But every step in that scale, the golden scale from infinity, I was shown timelines. Like it would go up in a scale, and in each step was lines, and there's multiple timelines and realities of ourself where it's so many choices. But to break away from that dimension and to be able to get into another consciousness and awareness, you're then able to start believing in more, which is what the goal is, to help us. And this is all for many different reasons, and to go to the higher dimensions. And it's scary going through it. I've had a lot of moments. The goal is because I've discovered later on we're preventing a galactic war that had happened in the future from us, right? So we're technically, it's like I'm a time traveler in a sense. Something had assisted my soul to bring in what it was missing. And we're here to save the future, but at the same time, we're here to save the past. And it looks like an X. And in the center is the part we're at. And by us making the right choices and pursuing our purpose and passion in individual ways, and we're also participating in not only our vibration rising and our timelines changing, but also the world's timeline and vibration. So as a collective, you're here and I'm here, but participating in as much as we can to be holding our emotions and working ourselves, we're also raising the planet, which actually, as the X, you wind up bringing it into one. So you're helping your ancestors on the human level from the past, because they didn't have the information or awareness or understanding yet because of the time and place, and also what had happened in the past, but also to line it up and bring them to a vibration and also the future. So in harmony, we are in one harmony and not duality. And duality being the dark or the light, not bad or good, it's just dark and light, and working together and understanding, which is it's very interesting. And as I went on with it and understood and trusted the process, there was still like I had to work and go to do things, and it's hard to understand. Then all of a sudden you see and understand more and get more, and it's like, okay, all right. And your purpose is discovered to participate and do your thing and do your part, or evolve that.
When you talk to people about this kind of stuff, how do people react? But we're both well aware of how it sounds to, yeah, it sounds it sounds a little bit strange to us ourselves. But how do people react when you talk about that stuff?
In the beginning, when I was really, I had some, family members that were concerned, but that's the reality of what we had to face, or what we need to face, because you're tested on realizing and learning that okay, what's the lesson here? And I, again, like this is the stuff that just happens and I'm processing. But I got tested and pushed by family members and a friend, and you get triggered.
Yeah.
And I said, why am I not allowing myself to be happy? And what's going on? And I realized I was putting them before me. And you have to choose in the sense of letting go of a job because maybe people are telling you not. There's pushing pull. And but the challenge after that was realizing the timeline shifted once I did that. Once you do things that you're meant to do that are good and let go of fear, people are with it instead of against it, or the positive is there. So there's different things that come from it. But over time, um, I didn't really get a lot of negativity from. I was afraid of my town at one point. Like, what are they going to say if they see me? And no one really said anything because I went more forward with my work and just was free to be myself at that time. Um, I had a lot of people still that told me I should get a real job, and I was trusting the process, and there was a lot of beautiful things from it. But I actually met a lot of people that needed help, and it was actually really, really beautiful and happy to see that I was participating and helping others where it was bringing them peace of mind. And there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened too. The live video stream would go to people, and I don't know how, but in the sense of I was doing readings for people, and every reading at the end of the reading, and it was crazy. I would be done with the reading, and the lady would say, by the way, I don't know how you came on my screen or how I found you, but I'm glad I did, and something like that. The next time would be the next reading. By the way, like the same thing, and I got weirded out. I said, I hope you don't mind. What do you mean by that? Because it keeps being said that the same thing. By the way, and I realized that I still don't know exactly how, but my live stream would just pop up on someone's screen. And it happened to me once through someone else's, and I didn't know it was about a dragon, and there's different stuff. But long story short, it was really fun in the beginning. It was more of the excitement of I'm here and I know what I'm there's the I get it now. But there was still a chunk of time where it was rough, and you still have to go through more timelines and growth and learning more. But it wasn't that bad. It was just more of the uncomfortability that family at the time still silently hoped that I would just snap out of it, or the the energy too. You become a little sensitive. Some people. I was sensitive to even the smallest things. But it's hard because you still go through helping people, and I'm still being honest because I want them to know, and I always did, that this is how I feel right now, and it's still participated in so much. But yeah, that's the hard. Other things too is relationship. We have to revisit some of these things that we needed to individually complete with lessons we're not learning yet, or we need to understand. And so, as much as we think we know this much, there's always more. And so, the awareness brought me to
Right.
a toxic relationship that I didn't want. I didn't want to do it, and I was stuck in it, but I wanted it. You're confused, and I lost myself there, and I had to come back up to it. But it's all meant for a reason. I came back even more determined. And these are all timelines. I mean, people are afraid to make decisions, but the truth is that it's learning about maybe fear, maybe the fear of the unknown. It's learning that every decision is kind of also divine timing. So even if you did do that, you'll still see something later on that goes, okay, well, I needed that for that reason.
Yeah.
You become more consciously aware. And timelines, I'm not going to lie, in the beginning, I wanted to just jump and see what happens, did this and that. It's more so there's different levels to the timeline jumping. There's the parts now. We can make a decision to I could talk about this and change it up, or maybe I'm not here. We didn't do this timeline yet, or we didn't choose it, or I didn't choose to post something or connect with you, or so there's all these different choices, and those are realities. And if your emotion is stuck, or you're feeling sad or confused, I teach that you just need to make a decision. And we tend to get stuck in that emotion because of our thoughts and feelings and lack, or so different choices can bring you to different things. If you know what makes you happy and you're sad, and you know, wait, hold on, if I do something that makes me happy, it's going to raise my vibration. So timelines can be just like this, where this is a lower vibration emotion, and this is a higher one, and all you have to do is go from here to here with that decision and do it. And there's a lot of different mental and inner being of emotions and thoughts. Now, there's other people who don't do the same thing. They're on different journeys or different gifts. So this has been mine, and connecting with light beings or galactic stuff. Seeing things and all that was fun, still fun, but I haven't seen it in a while. But I have a feeling it's coming back, and you have to trust the process. So they give me information, and I put it out. It's like not everyone's ready for it either, because your vibration of that information is too much. I want to ask you, one of the biggest individuals I came across was Dolores Cannon. Have you ever heard of her?
No.
And I found her by looking for, I just came across the one day. I was like, whoa. She did a lot of hypnotherapy, but it was deeper within the consciousness. And she would help people with light beings that took the person to the ship and did different things, or what's their purpose, what are they getting ready for. And that helped me out a lot with like being at peace with things too and understanding. But the visions I had too weren't in my control. The vision was this war, and it was the most profound vision, I want to say, I've ever had. I've had an out of body experience or astral projection. I don't know how to do that again, but the vision I had, I was literally in the room over here. I don't even know what day it was or what time. I just, time it's shifting, but it was so real, and I felt the impact and emotion. I mean, it was honestly better than watching a movie, because it would scare the crap out of me. And all I saw was two ships. It was just black and gray, or black and white, I don't know. They clashed. And then after that, I was brought to a planet falling out of orbit, and that scared the shit out of me. And I saw someone, I was assuming myself, but I saw someone jumping around trying to get off the planet. And they were jumping on the roof, and this big, huge black in the distance was grabbing the planet. That's all I got. It was scary. And it was so profound that one day I asked my guides, I said, you know what? I want to know what that was, because no one really answered it. I couldn't find the answer. Sometimes I don't have the intuitive ability. They don't want me to know stuff yet. And they said, well, look, you're going to know in 7.5 months. And at that time, it was like around my birthday last year, in February. Was it? Yeah, it was this year. And so I forgot. And I was going to school, just doing my normal thing. I was going to automotive school, and I was getting hit with what I shared with you with the X and the future. And then I go, by the way, just in case you want to make sure that you're not feeling some type of way that's not like real, this is why you needed to know that for that message. And I went, oh, because they said the future, the past, aligning, coming back together. Now this is even more than that. I mean, if you want to see dimensions on the multi-dimensional level, there's the angelic dimension. Everything is everything connected in different ways.
Let's go back to parallel universes and dimensions. I have my own thoughts on this topic, and I think one way to have a look into parallel universes or other dimensions might be dreaming. So we have dreams, normal dreams, because we experience a lot of stuff throughout the day. And then there's those strange dreams where your neighbor isn't your neighbor anymore. It's in the dream, it's your father, but it's the same. They're the same persons that you see throughout the day, but the roles are switched. And I think that these kind of dreams are special. And I think dreams might be a way to have a little look inside a parallel universe. Also, if you're throughout the day, you have some kind of daydream. And those daydreams, when you experience those daydreams, you stand there, you're staring somewhere, and you're not here anymore for a few seconds. As long as this daydream takes place, you're not you're not really here. You're somewhere else.
Hmm.
And I think I have to say I'm very skeptical about all this
Hmm.
stuff. I'm very skeptical. But I think this could be a way to have a look inside a parallel universe when you're dreaming, or when you talked about astral projection or
Hmm.
lucid dreaming, that kind of stuff. I think this could be a way to have a little look. What's your thoughts on this one?
So I like the dream reference because there's also another reference of living the dream. And if you look on manifesting, or you look on, let's start with everything starts with like the basic level one, or somewhere in. So if you think about this too, when you think about someone, you're actually putting your energy towards them, even if you don't know if you're thinking about them, even if they're living or not, you're connecting to the energy of what that is or who that is. Um, so that's also one way of the law of attraction. Also, the other thing is when you're daydreaming or thinking, you are also either creating, depending on the mood or feeling, and connecting to that reality of the parallel reality. So you could be daydreaming, or you can be now with the belief in, and sometimes we do things unconsciously, so it could be also connecting to it. But yes, for example, even referencing the dream or imagining it in your mind, and daydreaming, compared to when you make a decision, like recently I made a choice about something big. The next day, my father always enjoyed acting, and he did it really great at it. And he was waiting for one guy to do this film and show, and it was years and years and years. And I told him, "Don't wait, go back. You're awesome." Been years, and I made a big decision in my life, and it made me happier to do that. The next day, I don't even like that. He had two books on studying again. He already went to a class, and I'm thinking to myself, well, this is great, makes me happy, but it was just timeless. Um, so all these things are connected with your choices because it can line up to other realities that are good for you, or you're thinking about, and you want more of, or the thing that you really want the most. Let's say you have a dream, and if you pursue that dream, you're going to keep lining up with it, but you're not going to see it for a little while. You're going to go through obstacles or things to evolve you, and which brings that more closer to you. So your choices, feelings, and intentions are lined up to that reality and connection. And if anything, really, your desire will always call you. Your passion and purpose will always call you. And I believe in my mind is that as this planet is getting hit with different energies to bring those people in, they're going to want to do that no matter what, because it's called to service. Like you're ready to. We've been asleep for a long time,
Yeah,
so
maybe.
it's very odd to think about. But we've been asleep, so now we're awake and able to find ourselves is what we're really doing. And dimensions dimensions are more so the plane of vibration of Earth. And I don't believe everyone has the same experience. I think people also have experiences without knowing them, that they're in the experience. It's kind of like having a spiritual awareness and not knowing that we're here on this plane talking together, but maybe it's in this. So what I also experienced was hell on earth, but I was at work. It wasn't crazy. Like it was just really dense. It was not comfortable. I was not happy. But heaven on earth is also the awakening of your excitement, and things are vibrant and happy. So we don't know it yet, but we're meant to go upward and then go down and then come back up. So it's different motions. And as you're going up and learning your cycles and patterns, you're also consciously opening the cycle up larger, and it's going up more. So there's many different things. Um, but parallel universes and timelines, it's all possible. If we decide to sometimes stay stuck where we're at. And let's say we're not happy, it's like denying ourselves of the truth and never really doing the right direction of what we're meant to do. Um, and if we're happy with what we're doing, it's kind of like if you didn't do this show or podcast, you would be like, I want to do this. It's pulling to you. I want to do this. So you went for it, and you're still doing it. And it's just your choices, thoughts, and feelings. And if you want to keep learning to grow with it, and what that is for you. Not everyone sees it the same way. They're meant to see it this way, and it's all different.
I told you we are a German podcast project, as people might notice my accent, of course, and my
Mhm.
broken English sometimes. And I talked to a lot of people who claim that they have been abducted by aliens,
Mhm.
so they say. And what do you think about stuff like this? Do you think there are aliens coming from outer space to abduct people? Or do you think there are some people that say aliens are not from outer space, they're from another, or from a parallel universe, or it's us from the future, and stuff like that? What do you think about
Mhm.
this one?
So what I've gotten from this is that in the past with history, right? The history is history, and it's meant to be that way. It was a part of the past in the sense of duality. So if you think about duality as one, and it splits like this. So it's coming down, or we're aligning it to come back together. But the energy kind of comes in, and we are our energy straight. It's through our body, and as it goes up in dimensions, it's just going like this, and it's part of different pieces. So in the past, it was what it was, but I also understand that not everything was for the best interest for the past. It wasn't all good. There was different things, but I don't know exactly all the details for that. But what I do know is for abductions, I don't want to say like they were all bad or good, or they. I know that they studied maybe, but from my point of view, from what I've seen and known of how people have come together in different places for different things, I know that I was brought somewhere else, and I don't remember being abducted, but I just know. It's hard to explain that. I just know that we're not meant to always remember things or know things when we want to know them, because it could actually ruin or hurt your. It can deter your timeline. So if you know too much about something and you freak out about it, and if you can't handle it yet, you're gonna avoid. It's not gonna help you. I do believe that they were testing people or trying to help people, or I don't know the whole thing, but I don't try to stay on the fear base. I stay on the where we're at now and what was playing out, because the whole awakening in my time for 2018, it was this even before that, but it was a big wave from what I'm understanding. There was people that already experienced a little bit before, and there was a big wave in different times, and it's a vibrational signal because they're pushing that signal out to help us. And so there was a galactic setup in a way of like we're gonna do this, and it was pretty much to battle not only the galactic side, it's to battle the world and the 3D to help the vibration shift away from the fear base. They're saving souls in a way, not only the galactic souls, not only the ancestral souls. So, but when it comes to abduction, yeah, people are abducted. That's why Dolores Cannon, I mentioned her. She did hypnosis, hypnotherapy in deeper ways, and for the most part, it was all positivity. They're giving certain people certain things for their energetic body to be prepared, and they're doing certain things to help. Um, I even think my father was abducted because of the story he told me when he was younger. But the way we see it, it might not seem that way, but or a parallel. But he had a motorcycle and he was driving in the city, and something told him before this car stopped short. It was going fast to let go. And he swears, he said, I let go, and all I remember was he went 3 blocks down far, and something dropped him just like this. And his friend was there, and he said, where did you come from? He goes, I got to go back down there. My car accident. And he goes down there and he starts yelling, and you stop short. And the guy's like, who are you? And that's my bike. They thought he was dead. But when I thought about that later on in reflection, how my life and all these things play out, we don't know the impact. Abduction could be just being saved like that real quick because of the importance of things, but also a parallel to where you could have split. You maybe died there, but you continued here. So I don't know everything about the abductions, but I do know that there's abductions. The way I've seen it over here one night, and I'll never forget it. It was before all this, and I pulled up my driveway, and it was nighttime. And my hill, you park like this, and there's the hill. It was pitch black. And if God, universe, it wasn't a spotlight. It was, I don't even want to say a mini sun, because it was just enough light that lit up the whole area of the hill, and we're all looking at it. Me, my brother, and my ex-girlfriend, going, just staring at it, and went. It was fast, click, click. And when I looked at everyone, I went, did that happen? And they were like, yeah. And no one really talks about it anymore, because I'm the one that's excited about it. But that was profound to me, because I never found anything until maybe, this journey started.
I hear a lot of stories about people that claim they were abducted, and when they were abducted, they got messages. And it's always messages about, they get messages about save the earth or save the resources and stuff like that. That leads people to think that aliens, as we call them, are from the future, because they know what happens. And I don't know what to think about abductions. I'm very skeptical when it comes to abductions, but there are pretty special reports of people seeing aliens or seeing spaceships. I remember the Ruva aerial school incident. You heard about this one? The Ruva UFO encounter?
No, I didn't. I don't know everything about all this stuff, but sure.
It was I think 92 at the aerial school in Ruva, Zimbabwe, where I think 60 or 80 children saw spaceships coming down and land in front of the school, and creatures got out and talked telepathically to the children and said, you have to save the planet, you have to do this, you have to do that. And recently I got the chance to talk to one of those kids, and now he's an adult, of course, but back then he was very young, and man, he was that serious, and he is not into all that UFO stuff and all that shit. He told me this, when he told me his story, I believed it. It was crazy. There was no chance that somebody would think this guy is lying. He was dead serious. He said, I saw those ships coming down, and I saw those creatures get out and talk to us telepathically and tell us to, save the planet. That's crazy.
I believe that, because you don't realize too sometimes, even that alone, where that impact for them trickled down to maybe someone dear to them that they were like, they influenced and said, start saving the planet or do something different. Like it trickles and trickles and trickles. But yeah, I don't know all the abduction stuff. I just know that I felt and knew, and it's hard to explain. You just know. It actually kind of freaked me out, and I still to this day, I had to accept, I had to trust myself. Like, I know I died, because you go back and revisit what you felt and saw and understood. Your brain can only understand so much. But we're here to literally save Earth as a planet, because there's different vibrational things going on, and there's also the stuck going on. And so if they were able to land right and come in and be seen, it means that they had enough um, to be on a dimensional vibration to be reached, I guess, or just to see them. It's my guess. I don't know the whole, but I do believe and know that there's definitely. I was looking for them when I was little, and I was staring at the sky and stars, already knowing like there's more to this. And did I ever expect this to happen? I'm gonna be every couple days. I have a moment where I'm seriously. I'm not gonna lie. I actually cried like 3 nights ago because I hold so much in, and it's hard to be a human sometimes and just say, yeah, this is what it is, and you have a moment sometimes to go, holy shit, this is real. Like all this stuff that I've gotten understandings of and learning, and it's like I went to a book last night. I was talking to a friend. I don't grab a book often. I went up to the books. I guess I got to grab a book. I grabbed a random book, opened it. The things we were talking about of the earth and different types of earths of like there's heaven on earth and all these things was exactly what we're talking about, and that's what it was. That's what it was. I opened the page to it. So there's guidance with different things. There's different consciousness types. There's different galactic beings. What many people kind of get stuck on, and it's not to be judgmental or anything, is they get stuck on, what type of galactic being they are, and it's kind of like the beginning. You're a star seed. You find out, for example, mine was in the beginning indigo, which is the very empathic and emotional sensitivity, and how to understand the gifts of the indigo child or indigo children. And it's like a guidance system. You start with this piece that keeps you at least learning to find yourself and connect more. It's an exciting, oh, I'm an indigo child, so you learn more to trust it. But some people get stuck in different places with loops, and loops are where you keep doing the same thing and you expect a new outcome. And we're not meant to just stay at one topic. You evolve it to understanding there's other things that connect to it to help you go above it. And that can happen like it did for me. My spiritual journey kind of stopped with readings weren't like coming in as much, and Facebook for me on Facebook Live, there wasn't many people, but they were finding the lives later on. And it pushed me to realize like there's something next I have to do. There's something I'm supposed to do next. And I didn't want to do it yet. I'm like, no, I'm going to keep pushing and believing in this. And it wasn't to hurt or harm. It's more or less like, hey, there's a reality shift here. You got to pay attention here. And we're still human and learning. So that was another lesson to push me forward and see the bigger picture of what's next for this journey of mine. Well, when it comes to ships, I've seen a lot of different ships. I saw the triangle one before, and it was slow. It was slow, and you could see the colors you mentioned with the light and the red around it. And I saw an orb before. It was just a big orb in the distance. It was orange, but I don't know the difference between the orb and ship though. But there was one clear as day at one point after I was brought to where I said the parallel and death and over here, and I was so consciously open that everything was just like literally understood. My father wanted to help me with my car, but I didn't need his help. My mind was saying, let him help you. He just wants to show love, and he needs love too. And I was like, okay. And at the moment, I don't know why, but I looked up and there's ships right there in the sky, clear as day. And all I could do was just nod. And I almost had no power to, I like, Dad, look at that. I wanted to. And I was like, just saying, yeah, I'm here. And I felt that they wanted to see that I'm good. And it was just that. There's a ship that was, I woke up to at 5:45 in the morning. I just looked out the window and I saw this, and I felt like the need to look at it. And I was like, that's not a ship. Is it? When I get back in bed, it's like too early. And all I felt was this car. It wasn't a car, but if something hit your wall and it went boom, I got up and I went, Dad, you guys, And everyone like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I freaked out. I went outside to check the thing. No one else was. No one else like freaked out. And to me, it's like maybe they know more than I do. I'm just here, and I'm just the one that's like freaking out. But that ship put a lot of back pressure or whatever it was to shoot out of the atmosphere. And the government, I think, had a lot of information that was given in the past to. It was like a trade-off or a deal, and I think that was used for chaos. And chaos is not bad in the long run, but I think they abused it. And I think that the light beings actually knew more than what we thought, because they were preparing and sacrificing for where we're at now. And so the technology, I don't know all of the technology in a sense, but for example, like the evolution of television and frequency and vibration. There's actual things in the television that if you look in the blueprint or the what's the words, the patent, there's actual proof that there's a frequency attached to it in which helps the mind or makes the mind like want more of it. And so it's all these little frequencies and things that they're trying to manipulate the mind. You ever see that movie, the Batman movie, where it's like back in the 90s where they're using that energy and they take it from them, and
Yeah.
it's similar to that, but not as like wild. And that's why people have been so divided. Like I can be totally cool with everyone. I don't have to pick a political view. I don't have to tell you, like, as long as we're cool and we're human and we can hang out and understand that. But it's been divided, and people with races and different things, and there's pros and cons, and the pro to it is that everything needs chaos brings order. And it's just understanding eventually that I wouldn't have learned anything until there was a dark thing in my life in the sense of uncomfortability. But on a global scale, it's kind of hard to see that because it scares us.
Oh, your
Okay.
dog is going crazy.
Yeah, this slid downstairs. I talk a lot, so if you have any questions, I
No,
don't want to
man,
keep.
it's totally cool because it's very interesting, and I'm here to listen. And but tell me more about those orb you saw. Can you can you tell how big it was?
The orb. So I consider it a ship, and in the distance, it looks small, but in the distance is really kind of like a decent size. And I don't know how to measure it, but there was multiple people that just kind of was with me on the side of the road staring at it. Like you just see this orange orb, and I don't have an answer to ships versus orbs. I don't know. Quite honestly, there's X amount of things with galactic or light being I know, but there's also dimensional things too. But the orb was orange. It wasn't like one of those camera orbs or um, you just see this big orange orb in the middle of the field in the sky, and it's there. You know, it's not supposed to be there. And then eventually just kind of moved out and it was gone. Boom. And that was like anyone could say that, but the ships were really what freaked me out and but it was orange. What else did I experience with aliens and light beings?
I talked to a guy yesterday. His name is Jack Wills. He's
There are people that I've come across in the sense of well, the spiritual community, and there's different people, but they're at different places and learning. So even though I actually started off with my spiritual guides that I still have, and they're the ones that helped me kind of trust the way and learn, and that's what made me feel more comfortable with everything. But there's other people too that are more either in it or got there with the galactic information. And I wound up one day being asked to do readings for the group of women. You know, they're going to take mushrooms, and I didn't know what they were doing. They were just asking me to read them, and I said, "Okay, guys, you know," I said, "I'm gonna be honest with you. Are you guys going on some galactic mission together?" And they would start laughing, and they were. And so I was reading them, and I asked one girl who I knew she would have the answer, but she didn't completely tell me the whole. And that was the Orion War that she gave me the name of, the Orion War. I didn't know what the name of it was. And she told me I'm a time traveler. And to be honest with you, till recently, I know that I'm more of a time traveler than I thought I was, because I didn't realize till the timelines really affect you in weird ways. And I was on the phone with 3 or 4 people the other day. Never in my life have I been on the phone with 3 or 4 people from 3 to 4 hours each. I didn't, I was like, I don't understand how this is possible. And the day was flying by. It kind of freaked me out too. There's things that I know, and then you experience other things, and you're going, okay, this is what's going on. But light beings and aliens, I believe that we all have different connections to them, whether we know or not. And some people are also affected by certain things that are holding them back from possible awareness. And I don't know how to say that I don't want people to freak out. But sometimes people aren't ready to know that you are one already, that you are from some other place, that you're assisting others with who you are in general. And if I could put it to you this way, if you're excited and feel that there's a connection and you feel that, then you are. It's just more so, how do we find that out? And it's more allowing the process to come in and trust it. I've seen a lot of different things, spirits. I've helped people with guides and messages. I've helped timelines and knowledge to help others. All this information, for me, metaphysics, timelines and parallels, and it's all connected, and it's alchemy, but it's also the wisdom of all this connection, I believe, to be the galactic also assistant. And there's multi-dimensions. So if you were to take the whole of the galactic light being aliens and ancestors, right? You have to start with them. And it's you are like this, and you just keep growing as an energetic person, but it's all one. Everything is all connected in the sense of time and space are irrelevant. But that's why some people can bring in something quickly in their life. And that's the gift of learning how to do that properly, which is still challenging to some and easy at other things. If we're creating now and aware of that, our thoughts and manifesting can happen, we're learning that we have to utilize it in a good way. Some people want to just jump into manifesting and go, I want $1 million. And then you're not going to get it because you're frustrated, and you have to have the belief. And I don't have the belief to manifest millions of dollars, but I know that people could and will, and there's another way to connect dots. But we're here to create a better earth. And once you're given that, it's like a trail. I had no idea I manifested when I was younger, different things. And I did it without knowing that I was doing it. I manifested several cars, and I just said, that's my car, that's my car, that's my car. And I manifested moving to Florida for 2 years, and I made it happen. It's just, the blueprint already. There's things in your childhood or past that you're born with that you know. And when you wake up to realizing what these things are, you'll remember the things in the past too, and you go, oh, wow. So we're connected to a lot of different levels. But the galactic, I want to say that we're going to be able to see them, because if I've also seen at one point they weren't satellites. I know that. There were tons of these little things moving around the sky. And I remember it, and it's funny because I haven't seen them in a while, and it's because the vibration of dimensions is my thoughts. And they were doing something, and I think they were preparing or working with energy, but there was all these little not looking satellites, like they're everywhere, and I haven't seen them again since, but I know that I'm at a different vibration where I might see them again.
Even though I'm not down with everything you say, but that's totally cool. We all have different opinions, but it's very interesting. And do you think that your gift and all the things that you experience is your purpose in life? To help others?
It's a good question.
To give away what you know, like, yeah, we are here talking about it, and maybe a lot of people will see this. Do you think maybe this is your purpose in life?
Yes and no. I want to say that because there's a lot of people here already. Like, if you check it out and you think about it, there's celebrities and artists that have some of this knowledge of because of the path they took. And so they might know certain things about being at that position because they're giving a purpose of comedy and they're giving a purpose of laughter. They might and they might not. But at the same time, um, I've actually had this chapter change, and it's a good question because it was really, really impacting from 2018 till recently with doing readings, helping people with understanding the process, and my gift was the aspect of the mind because I'm a very mental and inner awareness. I wasn't like that. It kind of grew and grew, and it was this and this and this and this and duality, and so that is a gift. Now, I love this question because I realized that people enjoyed watching and listening to me, and they love my voice. And I'm saying that because this kind of I don't know how it will works, and it's just like you have to accept your gift when people are saying that over and over. And I'll laugh, I'll crack jokes as this whole journey progressed. I'm breaking out of my shell. If I look back, actually, I saw a video not too long ago of what I was doing. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I'm younger, and I got to these points of I let go of fear of judgment. I was more confident. I didn't care what people thought anymore in the sense of even like cursing or talking about random shit because I want people to embrace who they are and not be stuck with, this is the timeline and, spiritual crystals and, have fun, be free. And I got to points where I realized I want to do comedy. I wanted to do it a long time ago. And I really wanted to be a motivational speaker next, but it didn't make sense. Wasn't going that way, and I didn't know why. I didn't want to push it, but comedy, when it clicked, someone mentioned to me something about it, and I was thinking about it. So I went, you know what? Yeah, and that's my next thing. And the funny part is being comedian. The funny part, right? I don't know how to bring that all together, but it makes sense with everything.
I think the purpose in life is to grow, to steady get better in what you do, better and better and better. Somebody asked me a few days back in another podcast, who's my idol, my role model, and I said, it may sound, a little bit arrogant, cocky, but I'm my role model.
And do you say
I always want to be better than the Daniel from the day before. I always want to be a little bit better than I was the day before. And that's how you grow. So you look at what you done yesterday and you make it a little bit better. Tomorrow I have another podcast in English and I make it a little bit better. When I started podcasting 3 years back, it was 3 years back, I was shy and I was talking to my microphone like this and I had no guests. I made a podcast by myself and I scripted stories and I read it from the paper and I was very shy. And now I have interviews with like guys like Eric von Daniken, for example, and all those cool people. And the next step was to do podcasts in English. Although my English is far away from perfect, but I'm growing. I'm steady growing. I'm trying to get better than I was the day before. And I think this is the purpose, to get better and better and better. And I think there is no ending to this.
I actually started with podcasting.
Yeah.
And
you do.
When I was going through everything at the job, I was on break and I didn't realize I was listening to a website called Blog Talk Radio. I was just listening to all these different people. I'm like, why am I listening to this? And I got inspired and I had no idea why I was doing it. And I was on break and creating this page. And I said, okay, well, what's the name? And I came up with the name A Millennial's Third Eye. And I had no idea. I was like, yeah, that's great. And I forgot about it. And I'm telling myself how fear is getting in the way of me leaving my job so I can go figure. I wanted to figure all this all out. And then December came, it wasn't about a couple months later. And I was reminded from another podcast I was listening to you're not happy because you're not doing that thing you're supposed to do. And I forgot all about the podcast I had started. And so I went and got excited, and I realized like, okay, this is you get like called to do things, and I'm like, oh yeah, the podcast. And I wasn't believing myself yet, and I wasn't ready to leave my job yet. So I did that, and got nervous in the beginning. And people can call in. It's like a radio show that's recorded, and then people found me there too, and it just grew and grew. And we had fun. Different people came on. Friends came on, and things go up and down. But I started with podcasting, and yeah, like you said, we're not meant to stay in one place per se, maybe evolve it or take a direction. I tell people sometimes, even from my experience, but it's not always a solid thing for everyone. If you take it too seriously, you're not going to have the fun and excitement out of it. And you're going to always need this certain website before I start, or this and that, and everyone overwhelms themselves. Just start something. And that's what we did. You did. And it grows. And take it easy. Don't burn yourself out. But we'll do that eventually, and then we won't do it. But we all have this, we're meant to find our own things that we love to do. Because what happens is that this is one of the biggest topics in the beginning, is that if we don't have our own self-love of what we love to do, it means that we really haven't discovered more of who we are. And what happens is that the people that we're in relationships with or we do love, and it's not for everyone to understand, but at least for us or who's listening, and we have to understand that if we don't love ourselves, we're going to find someone who is also lacking other things that we need to fulfill ourselves with and match. And then we're going to be dependent on, why don't you love me? Or what are you doing? And they just, we're supposed to have our own times and stuff. And this is what it's developing, is the old ways might still stick around, but a lot of it's evolving to learn that learn how to let go of trust, the insecurity of trust, learn how to stop just saying, oh, I have trust issues, and oh, I don't have time, or oh, I want to. We tend to do it only when we're happy, and then the happiness is only when we have what we want, and then we'll do all those things what we want to do. So it's also about that too. It's multiple things, not even that's the multidimensional level of seeing all these things play out to better evolve each other, to help each other. There might be the other guy that you had that was knowing about aliens. He has his perspective, I have mine, and it's just about coming together, because I said this before with different people, and just to let them know, like, we're friends. You have a gift, even though if you know it or not, there's a gift in you that you can share with me and I can share with you. It's not about, oh, I only do this. I've had people, not even recently, they were excited and happy to connect, and I was giving them advice and helping them. And I needed a message, and I didn't even ask for it. And they said, "Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da," and they go, I can't wait to repay you someday when I get to where I'm going. I said, you have no idea. You just already told me before what I needed to hear for now, and I needed that more than you think. And so these little things will play out in your reality if you are willing to look and listen and observe, if you have the questions to find it and hear it. The universe speaks too.
Yeah.